Jan Crawford has covered the Supreme Court during much of Justice Kennedy's tenure. Jan, good morning. President Trump is now going to have the conservative Supreme Court that Republicans have dreamed of for a lifetime. Does this mean that Roe versus Wade, that grants abortion rights, will be doomed?
No. And, I mean, President Trump may have that Supreme Court conservatives have dreamed about for a lifetime, because what I've learned from covering the Supreme Court for the last 25 years is that conservative justices tend to disappoint Republicans and the conservatives who try to put them on the Supreme Court. And they'll typically side, sometimes, with liberals on social issues, just as Justice Kennedy did. Remember, he was nominated by President Reagan. To say that Roe versus Wade is in jeopardy, I think, is overstating it right now. We don't know how the other justices on the conservative side would vote right now on that. Justice Clarence Thomas is the only justice on the Supreme Court who has said he would overturn it. It could well be considered settled law, but what I do think you're going to see is the next justice kind of putting the brakes on further development, extending these rights, whether it's abortion rights, affirmative action, or gay rights, kind of put the brakes on some of those developments.
So, Jan, what do we know about who the president is considering for the next nominee?
Well, I mean, he has a long list of potential contenders for this seat, but I think there are really three primary frontrunners right now. They're all federal appeals court judges. They have sterling academic credentials. That's Brett Kavanaugh, Raymond Kethledge, and Amul Thapar. Thapar is interesting because he would be the first Indian American on the Supreme Court, and he's also a protege of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. So I think you're going to kind of see this. McConnell's going to be pushing for him, and you're going to have some people inside the White House and the White House counsel's office who are really pushing for Judge Kavanaugh.
Any women on the short list?
There are. I mean, there's one I think we really kind of should take a look at, and they're considering to bring in for an interview with the president, and that's Amy Coney Barrett. She's a former Notre Dame law professor, recently confirmed to the federal appeals court. So she may be kind of in waiting for that next nomination, because remember, two of these justices on the Supreme Court right now are going to be over 80 years old this year, and they're both liberals. Justice Ginsburg's 85.
All right, Jan Crawford for us at the Supreme Court. Thank you, Jan.